You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Tuesday the 28th of October 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And once again, like yesterday's podcast, this is an emergency podcast, and like yesterday, it's not a proper emergency podcast where I didn't put a date on it and just chucked it out if I couldn't be bothered. No, this is a planned emergency podcast for planned emergencies. Actually, no, it's not an emergency. So yesterday and today, I've been visiting a friend. We've gone to see a couple of plays in London, and I just feel a bit weird potentially recording a podcast near my friend, and I'm just going into here for 5 or 6 minutes for no apparent reason. Thanks, don't listen. Just sounds a bit odd. So what I'm going to quickly talk about today. Yesterday, I went to see Midsomer Murders. Obviously, I'm recording this before I've actually seen the stage play, but obviously it's going out after I would have seen it. And obviously tomorrow's podcast will be a proper one recorded on the day it goes out. So tomorrow I will talk about what I thought of both Midsomer Murders and the play I'm going to see today, which is the Ollie Alexander and Stephen Fry version of The Importance of Being Earnest. It's got a couple of other people I've definitely heard of in it. So it's got the girl from Dinner Ladies who played the really young one, and I can't remember her name. And it's got Hugh Dennis, and there's a few other people I definitely recognise in there. But anyway, again, I will probably put this out at the time I should be in the theatre. But no, so what I did recently was, so the Midsomer, now don't get me wrong, I've not watched Midsomer Murders. It's not my genre, this murder mystery lark. But I've watched Doc Martin recently, and I really enjoyed it, and I'd kind of like to get into something that ran for a little while that I can enjoy. So I didn't want it to be Midsomer Murders, but I'm going with a friend of mine who really likes it. So the play is an adaptation. I believe it's an adaptation of the TV episode rather than an adaptation of the book. And I know that's a kind of long-winded argument because obviously the TV version is an adaptation of the book, but I think they've gone more for an adaptation of the TV show than the book. But anyway, the one thing I do know is that the main character, who was originally played by John Nettles, who was, of course, to me, was Jim Bergerac from Bergerac. But yeah, he plays the original, I can't even remember the character's name now, but the original character in Midsomer Murders was played by John Nettles. And I know that his sergeant, whose name is Sergeant Troy. I know the actor who played Sergeant Troy in the first few series of Midsomer Murders on television is playing Barnaby, that's his name, is playing Barnaby in the in the stage play. So that's quite a nice link. And so I basically said to my friend, I might watch that opening episode that the play is based on, because, with some of the cast being the same, even if they're playing different characters, there might be a couple of little in-jokes and nods to the TV production, and it would be quite nice to be in on that joke. So I watched it, and I've never watched Midsomer Murders before, and it really surprised me. I'm not going to call myself a fan or anything like that yet, because I've only watched the one episode. There's 140 odd more, but I didn't hate it. I thought it had there was a quirkiness to it. It was a bit sick in places. A lot of incest going on. I mean, the Undertaker, who's who looks and acts like maybe a gay male, you see him snogging his mum not halfway through the episode, but at some point in the episode. And then two of the main protagonists are brother and sister, but the big secret they're hiding is that they're having an incestuous relationship. So, quite twisted. But it was well done. I thought John Nettles' character was quirky. He definitely wasn't a carbon copy of Jim Bergerac. Jim Bergerac's much more to the point, much more blunt, where there was a quirky and humorous side to Barnaby. So yeah, I enjoyed watching. Oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I actually enjoyed watching the opening episode, and I'm going to. Oh, the other thing I like about it is because I love classic British television. The first episode was shot and broadcast in 1997, so quite a few of that, almost that troupe of older generation of actors that are in like everything when I was a kid, from Doctor Who to All Creatures Great and Small and all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff. Quite a few of them have been in Midsomer Murders. So the episode that I watched had Julian Glover in it. Julian Glover, of course, I can't remember which Indiana Jones film he was in, but he was in the first or the third. It definitely wasn't the second. He's also been in Star Wars. I think he was in The Empire Strikes Back. He was in Doctor Who. And he was in Game of Thrones more recently, of course. So he's a very, well-known actor. And there was a couple of other people dotted throughout the episode that I recognised from sort of the TV in my youth. So that was good. And then in the second episode, which I started watching but haven't finished watching, you've got people like... Oh, and actually, Elizabeth Spriggs, who played The Undertaker's mum, is a very famous actress who appeared in a lot of stuff when I was young. And so she's no longer with us. I had in my head she was in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy in Doctor Who, but I've just realised it was Paradise Towers, and I was thinking of the wrong older lady. But yeah, and then obviously in the second story, you've got David, or was it Michael Troughton? It's the one that's in The Archers now, so I think I don't know which one it is. It's the one that's in The Archers now, anyway. So that was good, and there's other people I recognise in it as well. So I have a feeling I'm actually going to enjoy it. Oh, and it had what's her name? Jessica Hines as well. Very, very young. And of course, she's been in Doctor Who and loads of other really good stuff. So she was in that first episode as well. So yeah, it's kind of almost like the old generation meeting the new. So the long and the short of it is I probably will watch some more. Anyway, I've overrun. This is an emergency podcast. I recorded in advance that I planned what I was going to say and I still overran. Oh well. Thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with, I was going to say a live podcast. It won't actually be live, but I'll be back tomorrow with a podcast that actually recorded the day I put it out. Thank you so much for putting up with these emergency podcasts for the last 2 days, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.